Hi, my name is Keith Cooper of Northlight Images, and in this video I'm going to have a look at some problems of your images on screen or your prints coming out wrong. Now, I've done plenty of stuff in the past about the importance of calibrating monitors, about not having, for example, your screen too bright, because if you have your screen too bright when you edit pictures, you tend to make them a bit darker to match, and then when you print them they come out too dark. That's by far and away the most common reason for prints coming out too dark. But this is a slightly more complex thing. When you're not sure whether it's your prints or it's the screen that's wrong, you could be sending your images off to be printed somewhere. I will be showing a test image I've used many times. This is a standard image that I print when I'm testing printers. I know this one well. I have a page full of downloadable images and links to images, and that's what I'll be coming back to, how to use some of these images, not just for purely for printing, as I've got here. Now, as they setting the screen brightness, yeah, fair enough. Calibration, by the way, you set it to a brightness, so you can have a calibrated screen that is too bright just because you've calibrated your screen. If you've set it too bright, you could well get problems. But one of the key uses of these test images, and as I say, I mention this almost every time I do a printer review or something like this, one of the key reasons for using this is that I know the image is okay. If I print this image and it comes out wrong on the printer, I know something is wrong with the printer setup. If I try printing one of my own images and it comes out wrong, then I don't know whether it's my image is wrong or the printer settings are wrong or what I've done. So essentially you use this to reduce the number of variables, the number of things that could have gone wrong. And there are lots of other ways you can use an image like this. So I mentioned there that I'm looking at using this because I can't be sure of my own images. Now, obviously, I'm a professional photographer, architectural industrial photographer, so my pictures are pretty well ought to be right because I do it for a living. That said, I occasionally get times where I produce a print and it just doesn't look right. And I've quite often found that the reason I'm doing it is that I'm editing a picture on a screen, and these two screens here, they're both set to quite a low color temperature so that they look good on the video. They're run off this laptop here, and this screen is calibrated to a normal use. These ones here are calibrated to look good on the video. So this one will look a distinctly bluish tinge and look wrong on the video because these are adapted to the lighting I've got in the room here. Now, if I'm editing an image, how do I know I've got it right? Let's say that I printed the test image. It's come out fine, so I know the printer setup's okay. Or I've sent the test image off to be printed by a print service and it's come back and it looks fine. How do I actually change the editing of my pictures? Well, simple way, and this is based on, I do quite a bit of teaching people to do all aspects of photography. It's part of the business, always has been part of the business. It's bespoke sort of teaching training, either for companies or for individuals. Here in the UK, it's in person on site, so I don't do online courses, I'm afraid. But in this, one of the things I actually get, one of the reasons I enjoy doing teaching like this, is it always forces me to realize that my way of thinking about things is not the only way of doing it. And people who ask me questions, who have problems in doing stuff, they often suggest to me different approaches to try and explain things. So here we've got, these are some test images. Here's the standard one that I use for everything. Now on the download page, there is an explanation for each of these little panels here, what's special about the images and why you should use them. Now, there are other images on that as well. If you're having difficulty and you think you're editing your images wrong, now they may look okay to you on the screen, But what I often do, if I'm having difficulty, and it does happen on occasion, as I say, I've noticed it with black and white, where I don't get quite the overall tonality quite right for if I'm going to print an image, is to open up one of these images. Now I've got black and white ones as well, but open up one of these images on the screen at the same time as the image I'm editing. I know that the tonality of that image is okay. Look at that, then look at your own image. Does your own image look a bit bright? Does your own image look a bit dark? Is the contrast on this okay, but on your image, does it look a bit flat? Are the colours a bit flat? Now, if you're going for that look, then fine, you've got it. But if you're not, then having a set of test images like this that you can just pull up, have a look at and go, right, that's that, can often help inform you how you need to change the editing. Remember, this is with a calibrated screen or whatever, however you do stuff. If you open up one of these images, ideally in the same editing package that you're using to do the testing, because you want the color management to be handled the same and everything like that. This one is an image in sRGB color space. This one is in Adobe 98. And the other images, well, they're in whatever they're in. But there are loads of them, different types of test images I've got on the download page. So essentially, you open your picture, you look at it, and then look at the other picture. Then look back at yours. That's the point where you think, hang on, mine's a little dark, mine's a bit bright, colours could do a bit of... It just helps time. Now, I do a lot of photo editing, so I tend most of the time to trust my abilities and skills in getting this right. However, every so often, I do have a look at these images just to give me a ground reference point. Now, I'm not trying to make my images look like these. I'm using these to say, this sets the overall tonality that I'm interested in. Oh, look at my image. I haven't got that tonality right. Now, much like soft proofing, don't do this for every single image. Use it occasionally, use it sparingly, use it where you'll get a benefit from it. But using these images, not just as prints, which is what they're generally intended for, but using them as screen reference images as well, I've found just helps just improve my editing accuracy. Of course, I've got calibrated screen, all the stuff like that, good quality screens, editing with color management. But even if you're not using any of that, opening one of these test images and things can just give you an idea that if your prints are coming out a bit wrong, maybe that's one way for doing it. But remember, the most common cause of prints coming out too dark is that you've got your screen too bright. Reduce your screen brightness a bit and then see if it changes like that. Now, if you're sending prints off to a company to be printed, perhaps that's a little bit involved. But if you're doing your own prints, spend some time looking at test images like this, because you don't edit these or alter them in any way. You know that these are okay to start with. So if your pictures look markedly different in a way that you don't really want, then there's a hint for how to progress it. Now, hope that's been of use. Let's say it may work for you, it may not work for you, but these are all things that I've shown people when I've been doing sort of teaching and things like that, and occasionally people have gone, oh yes, and if one person goes, then hopefully it may well be of use to some others. So if you've got questions, let me know. It's people's questions always that give me ideas for things like this. A quick catch up on things that I'm doing, because I know people have been asking. I still don't have an ETA for getting that Pro 1100 printer from Canon. They have said they will get it to me as soon as possible. I will let you know when it's available. Another thing, I've got a TT Artisan macro lens here. This is the non-tilt shift version of the one that I was going to review last year, but TTA pulled it and decided they weren't going to do it. It is attached here on a GFX 100S. So I'll be having a look at that this week, at how this performs. In particular, this is the EF mount version, so I can use it both on a 5DS and on the GFX, so we can look at vignetting, things like that. How useful is it? But anyway, if you've got any ideas, anything else you'd like me to have a look at, do just ask. Anyway, thanks for watching and bye.